Saxon Algebra 2. This is our review for the December midterm. Greetings, students. No new material. We're just checking in to go over what will be on the test. So I wrote it out. Oh, excuse me. No, this does not bore me. I find this endlessly fascinating and exciting to plan a test for you. So ignore my yawns. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'll jot down the lesson number and the topic. Remember that some lessons have an A and a B, so there might be multiple topics within the same lesson. So I will talk about that as we go. All right, lesson 48 was our most recent lesson. This was where when we were doing actual equations with radicals and we were isolating the radical and then taking the square root of both sides. And remember, with these, it's important that you check your answers. And I will remind you, if I give you a problem from this lesson, I will say, check your answer. 47 is a two topic. We had rate unit conversions where we were using rates that had like, inches per second or miles per hour, where there was a rate in the numerator and the denominator. And we were having to go through and do both of them. And then fractional exponents, we learned a trick on those when the bases don't match. We learned how to deal with that. 46 has topics that are already on the list. Radicals we saw in 48. Fractional exponents we saw in 47. I would not give you two questions on a similar topic like that. It would be one or the other. Usually, once we've seen the topic in a later lesson, that's the more sophisticated kind of problem. I'm more likely to choose the more advanced level of problem rather than take a super easy one. So bear that in mind, but it's more of the same. 45 was when we were practicing that quick little step that I told you was going to be part of a bigger process later on. 45, let me find. John calls them difference of two squares theorem. I think that's a really confusing name. They look like this, right? Where you have the two things and you take the square root of both sides and you have to check these as well. And again, I will tell you, check your answer. 44 and 43 go together. That was our introduction to trig functions. 43 was when we first met them. We defined them. We talked about Oscar had a hold over Arthur. John doesn't use that, by the way. I don't know if you noticed, but John's not hip to the Arthur and Oscar dramas. And then we did a few basic calculations here using the calculator. And then 44 was where we really put that to work in solving for the sides and the angles of a triangle. This requires your calculator. You will be allowed, if there is a problem like this, you would be allowed to use your calculator on the test for that problem only. Okay? So on the test, if there are problems that require the calculator, I'll be very specific that you can use it here. And really, it would just be for the trig functions because there's nothing else we need to use calculators for. All right? So likely, I would treat those as a single unit. Estimating with scientific notation. Ooh, that's a good one. Not gonna lie. Unit multipliers, again, here we have them with the rates, and this was just doing, I think this was volumes in 41. I'll check, I have my book right here. We were doing things like square feet to square inches, square yards to square inches. I'll be honest, we're more likely to have this one. 40, abstract fractions. Oh, I love a good abstract fractions. That's where it's all letters and you have to be told which letter to go for. Difference of two squares, 39. Is when we are factoring, like I'll show you here. 81m squared minus 25 equals 0. That's where you have to recognize that's a difference of two perfect squares and then factor it accordingly. Those are good. 39, 38. Powers of sums. Oh my gosh, you guys, that is so important. That's like this, where we're expanding and we've got a quantity with a binomial in it and it's squared. You can't just say it's x squared plus 3 squared. Don't we all wish, right? But no, you have to do the dance and square out the whole big jelly bean. All right, and then solving by factoring is when we learn that we factor, but then we use the zero product theorem and we actually solve for x. 37 is chemical compounds. Not gonna lie, I love a good chemical compound problem. And then uniform motion is the last topic. I would like to have one of these. I think these are really challenging problems, and for how hard you work on learning them, these are the lessons where the 3 different types originally appeared. So this is the first type, the second type, the third type, right? Lord of the Rings, Titanic, and what did I say this one was? Oh, Princess Bride. I still haven't rewatched it to remember the scenarios, but they're always chasing each other. I'm sure Princess Bride's going to work for that. All right, so these are the topics that I will be drawing from. And I mean, it's a lot, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. If you count them individually, it's 16, although there are some repeats. Those are what I will draw from to make the test. Now, how do you study from this? All right, I've got another page to show you. All right, so what I want you to do, you're watching this on Monday, hopefully early-ish in the day. I want you to have 2 sessions of homework between when you watch this and Wednesday at noon, which is when I'll drop your test off. I'll tell you that in a minute. All right, so 2 sessions of homework. I want you to go through that list that we just created, half in the first session, half in the second session, and I want you to do 2 to 3 problems per topic, right? So for each line, for each type of problem that we outlined, do 2 to 3 problems. You can get those from the examples that I use when I teach. You can get them from the practice problems, or you can find your own problems in the problem set by using the little parenthesis numbers as your key. Start by doing 2 or 3 of them. If you're doing well and you feel confident and you're getting them right and you know the formulas by heart, then that's fine. If you feel either confused or you're getting some wrong, do more problems on any topic that you're struggling on. But I also want to hear from you. When you get to this point, I want you to text me your list and say, oh, these are the ones that are freaking me out a little bit, all right? We don't have to talk about it. I just want to see what's on your mind. All right, then that's your main study thrust. But I also want you to work on memorizing your formulas. Any formulas you need to work any of these problems, it's your responsibility to memorize them. We're not using notes in the test. So what I recommend that you do is remember what brain scientists have told us about memorizing. Memorizing works best when we're moving. Movement leads to memorization. So stand up, walk around, write them on a whiteboard, scribble them all over pieces of paper. When my kids were memorizing things, they would do, like, they weren't doing it consciously, but they would just kind of like stand up and like move around, shuffle their feet, jump back and forth. A lot of my kids and their friends would memorize things by jumping on the trampoline. In our life, all homeschooling families had trampolines. It was so funny in those days. I don't know if that's still true, but find a way to make it fun. Send each other text messages and ask each other questions. Write them on a board at home. Have your mom drill you. Make flashcards. Whatever it takes. And at this point in your career as students, you, I hope, have a pretty good idea of how to memorize things well. If you don't, now's the time to learn. Different people's brains work in different ways, but you need to know what are good ways for you to memorize things. And this is a perfect opportunity, like I say, to learn. And then the third thing I want you to do is pay attention as you're working problems in this process. Pay attention to showing your work. Make sure your presentations are neat, clean, well organized, showing all the steps, showing all the formulas, showing all the calculations. Make sure your work looks pretty much like my work looks when I write out the tests. All right, now, how exactly is this test going to go down? I will drop the test off to you. It'll be in an envelope on your porch or front door area, just like last year, between noon and 1 p.m. on Wednesday, December 16th. It's going to be quite a drive this year. I have quite a few little deliveries to make. I'm going to be like Santa in my sleigh, traveling the whole world in one night. So this is when I'll be out and about. So depending on where you live and what order I go in, you'll get it there. You then have 24 hours to work the test according to your own schedule. I'll be back to pick it up from you Thursday, 2 to 3. If you finish right away, let's say you sit down as soon as I drop it off and do it, you can message me and say, hey, I'm already done and my test is back out on the porch. And if I have time, I'll come get it from you sooner. That would actually be better for me. So if your test is ready and waiting for me, just let me know. And then I will bring them back to my house, and as soon as I can, because I know you're anxiously awaiting your results, I will grade and get back to you, send you pictures, message you. We can talk if we need to, whatever it is, all right? If your score is below 80%, there may be extra work involved. And the reason I do that is because we all have bad days and we all freak out and do crazy things on tests and have huge regrets. I would rather give you another chance to show me, to let you show me what you know, than to just say, oh, sorry, 74%, sucks to be you. No, that's not a satisfactory ending for me. I want you to wrap up this fall semester with a positive learning experience, and that means we go into Christmas break with a win. So if the first time you don't succeed, we try again. I'm not worried about that. I'm hoping you guys will all score solidly above 80% or above. Like I've said, anywhere between 80 and 100% I consider equally amazing. I don't kind of roll my eyes if somebody gets an 82. That's really hard. An 82 is a really good score. So, I mean, if you get 100, fabulous. But if you're in the mid and low 80s, no shame in that game. Be proud. It's only if you're below this that we would talk about extra work. And there's no rules or standard way I approach that. I just look at the test, think about the student, and come up with a customized plan for that student. All right? So that's worst case scenario. Hopefully, I'll pick it up and then message you with some good news. You may ask questions while the test is happening. It'll be a little trickier because I kind of need to be on call for like 24 hours, don't I? 25, 26. So if at all possible, please text me or reach out to me on Messenger. Your moms have a way of, all of your moms have a way of reaching out to me that's not email. So please use that because I don't get email notifications on my phone by design. I don't want to. So it's a little harder if you message me through email. I'm not going to see it as promptly. All right. So feel free to ask me anything you want to ask before or during the test. And if I don't respond to you right away, just hit me up again and make sure that I'm paying attention. All right. Okay. That's everything I need to tell you to prepare for the test. Good luck. Feel free. Let me know what topics you're struggling on, but feel free to me in this review process. Feel free to reach out to me and ask me any questions that may be on your mind. All right? All right. You're going to rock it. I'm excited, and I will talk to you later.